I've got something that just happened to me recently that I've a little bit of bad news, but we're going to end with some hopefully some good news that I'm really excited to share with you. So first of all, again, we'll kind of delve into the bad news a little bit. This picture I'm going to put up is actually the picture of my Uncle Bob Robbins, who passed away last Wednesday. I haven't had a lot of death in my family. I've been very fortunate. We have a pretty small family, other than grandparents a long time ago. So first death that we've been through, and this is a picture of his obituary. He was 84 years old. As you can tell, he was very active in the Masonic Lodge, and he was born and raised around Wichita, Kansas, which is my hometown. Spent a big part of his life there, moved to Missouri to retire, and about a year and a half ago had to move back to Wichita, and has really been failing health-wise. So the last year and a half, he's actually been in a nursing home. He regressed daily to where his quality of life was very bad. So we got to a point where it was time. But with all that being said, he has a wife, my Aunt BK, who they've been married 57 years. And my mother is his only sibling, who's my mother, Levita, and she and they had no children. So myself and my siblings were really their whole family. So when I was talking to my Aunt BK a while back, as we knew this was about to happen, I talked to my Aunt BK and I said, BK, when you think about your funeral arrangements and you think about my Uncle Bob, what are you thinking? And so we went down that process of, most of his friends have passed away and doesn't have a lot of friends, so maybe we should just do a simple direct cremation or direct burial. And hey, the family's a long ways away, so maybe let's not do that. So we talked about that, and we decided that we weren't going to do that. So backtrack to Wednesday when he passed away. So I was actually in California. We had a call. I was at Forest Lawn. Had a call earlier that day from hospice that his life was about to end. So got the call that he'd passed away, and so I got on the first plane back to Dallas, unpacked, repacked, and on Thursday morning I got up, and this is actually my family. This is my mother, Levita. That's my father, Boyd. The other one in front, that's my oldest sibling, Cheryl. This is my brother, Greg, who lives in Florida, and my younger brother, Todd, out of Houston. And so we all came together on Thursday morning in Wichita, and we had the funeral prearranged, but yet there were still things to do. So a few of us headed up to the funeral home to finalize some funeral arrangements, and after that we decided to go to the florist. And my sister, she's kind of artsy, and she's played around with flowers a little bit, so she went to the florist, and the florist decided pretty quickly that, hey, she kind of knows what she's doing. So the florist said, would you like to actually arrange your Uncle Bob's flowers? And so this next picture has a picture of that. She spent all day, and it's important that I kind of go through these days quickly so you'll understand, and I'll tie this together in a minute. But she spent about 4 hours on Friday morning. This is the casket spray. You can see the cowboy hat and obviously the big belt buckle, way to represent Uncle Bob. She did a couple other floral displays, and my older brother, he wrote a beautiful obituary that's still online. My younger brother was executor, and so we all kind of had a role in this process. And so we're going through this, and so we make the arrangements. It's Friday morning, so then Friday night we decide we're going to have a visitation. Now, it's from 6 to 8. So my uncle, he was in the grocery business. He started working when he was 14 years old, and he spent 46 years in the grocery business. And we're a family of very, very proud grocers. My dad, grocery business for years. My mother, probably 25, 30 years. All of my siblings. We just grew up in the grocery industry around Wichita. It's Dillon's grocery store, which is now Kroger's. And so Friday night at visitation, we're thinking it may just be us, right? Well, all of a sudden people start coming in. And they're people that my Uncle Bob that had worked for my Uncle Bob. Some of them knew BK. Many of them knew my mother. And all of a sudden, people that were in high school with me. I don't do reunions. I didn't really care for a lot of them when I was there, so I just don't do that. So, but they started coming in, and people that I worked with when I was in my late teens, and my brother and my sister, and we just had this incredible visitation for 2 hours. I was blown away. So then we go Saturday, and I've got to go quick on all this stuff, but Saturday we're having the funeral service at 1:30, and because of I didn't know the funeral director, but through this whole process, he kind of realized that I kind of have a general idea what I'm doing. So I got to be a huge part of the funeral. I got to do his whole obituary, and I got to tell some of his life story. And we laughed and we cried. Surprise, Brian cried. We went, and we just really, really, really had that. We get to the cemetery, and my sister and my dad, who was one of my uncle's best friend, and my siblings, we were 5 of the 6 casket bearers. He had military honors. My Uncle Bob was in the Army. When we left on Sunday, our hearts were full. When we all decided to go back home, we really celebrated my Uncle Bob. We wouldn't have changed a single thing with his celebration, and that's not all. So I want to go back to my family a little bit. This is one of 2 pictures that I have of my family. But it's like every family, right? There's always a lot of heartache. There's a lot of hurt in every family, and I get that, right? My parents, a lot of you know, they were divorced when I was 9 years old. My dad left. I had a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness. For many, many years, he wasn't part of my life. I made some really poor decisions in my late teens and my early 20s. Still make a lot of bad decisions, but I was really, really hitting it out of the park. And so my family wasn't super happy with me. Some of my siblings weren't making great life choices, and so we just haven't been in a good spot. They're my family, and I love them, and they know that they love me. But it's never been that really close family that I've just yearned for my whole life. I mean, I've compared it to I've longed for the kind of relationship with my own biological family that I have with my Precoa family. So what happened through this process, from Thursday when we all got together until Sunday morning, we were together. My dad obviously was in and out. That would have been weird. They're divorced, and so, but we had time with Dad. But every morning, noon, and all night long, we were on the floor. We were on the sofa with my mom and my siblings, and we were able to talk about things from 30 years ago, and there were a lot of things that I had in my mind that they didn't know, that were in my heart, things that hurt me. There were a lot of things going through their mind and their hearts of how I'd hurt them. We spent hours and days just connecting, and we just, things that we should have done 30, 40 years ago that may never, ever, ever have happened had we not had this opportunity to come together. And I want all of you to know it's because of you. This didn't happen without all of you. I don't know if you realize it, but everybody in here plays an integral part. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're in IT, if you're in finance, if you're in BD, if you're in our planning center, if you're in sales. The whole goal in my mind is to get that advanced funeral planner together with an individual or a family so that we can talk about what a funeral can be and how we can connect with these families, what that can all mean. But that doesn't happen without that. So I'm here before you today to tell you that because of what you do and how you've helped me, my relationship with my family is better than it was a week ago, and it's far better than it was 30 or 35 years ago. My family's life was enriched through a meaningful connection. And because of all of you, if we can continue to charge the hill and dig in, and it gets hard and it gets rough and we all get frustrated, and I get that, but if we don't lose sight of the fact that there are thousands and thousands of families that my hope can experience something similar because of what we're doing on a daily basis. Thank you.